All right, let's get into this. So, our first review of the day is going to be for the film Is This Thing Still On? Is This Thing Still On? Is a movie directed by Bradley Cooper. This is his, isn't this his third movie? Because he did that movie with Lady
Yeah,
Gaga,
this
Star
is
is Born, which is a
yeah,
remake.
yeah. This is his
Uh,
third directorial feature.
and then the second movie, Maestro, he did. I like the Star is Born. Maestro was okay.
Mhm.
It's fine. So in this movie, this is a much more seems like a low key movie than his previous two movies there, and it's starring Will Arnett. Will Arnett, who plays a guy who's a middle aged guy who's going through a divorce. He's going through not really. It's a separation at this point,
Mhm.
not really a full fledged divorce. Like him
Yeah,
and
it's
his
like
wife Laura Dern are separated.
yeah, it's they've come to a point in their relationship where they both realize that it's kind of over, so they go on this separation. And Will Arnett, his character, he stumbles into this open mic night and starts doing stand up comedy as a way to process it.
Look at Neil. He's trying his hand at stand-up comedy. Is this thing on? I thought I turned it on an hour ago. Yeah. How's it going there, Neil? Good old Neil there. Yeah, so he just, like you said, stumbles upon a bar there. He has to, they said, like, well, it's $15 to get in because they're doing stand-up night.
Mhm.
He's like, well, I don't have $15, but the only way you can get it free is if you perform stand-up. So he's like, ah, fuck it, why not? And he gets up there and he doesn't really tell jokes. He just talks about his life, and people go, oh, that's hilarious. You're in pain. That's so funny. Oh
Damn,
my God.
it's like, damn, your life sucks.
Yeah. And he kind of finds a catharsis in that,
Mhm.
being able to just open himself up and spill out all his emotions and talk about things. And that's all. And that's kind of what the whole movie's about. Really, mostly it's just him going through the separation, how he's dealing with it, him using stand up comedy as a way to kind of handle that. And him finding also community amongst these stand up comedians that kind of welcome him in. Cause like, you're one of us, you got on stage, you did it. Let us
Mhm.
kind of welcome you in. Nick, what were your thoughts here? Is this thing still on?
Yeah, so I'm very hot and cold on Bradley Cooper as a director. I really loved A Star Is Born. I thought that was one of my favorites of the year it came out, and I thought Maestro was just thoroughly okay. It's like I
Mm,
admire the craft behind it, but I just really didn't connect with that story. And with Is This Thing On? I felt like going on a much smaller scale, going at this very personal story that's written by Cooper, Arnett, and Mark Chappell. I felt like he found something really special in this, and keeping a lot of that almost guerrilla style of filmmaking, because a lot of this is shot on handheld, where you're following in very very tight close-ups on Will Arnett and Laura Dern, and you get to feel all of the emotion behind every scene that they're in together.
mm, yeah. They have a lot of these fights kind of going on. Like you said, they're
Mhm.
at different kind of points of their life. They've kind of come to a decision, and it's not like, real knockdown, drag out
Mhm.
type separate, not
Yeah,
like Marriage
this
Story.
yeah, this isn't Marriage Story. This isn't a film about like an ugly breakup. It's two people who, are very amicable with each other, are still in each other's lives because they have two kids, and are still friendly and cordial with each other.
Yeah. And I mean, they've spent, because he talks about in his stand up, a lot of time together. I mean, they
Mhm.
dated for large number of years. They met a long time ago. They, married, been married over 20 years. They were married. And so, yeah, he factors in all the time that they've known each other. It's like 30 plus years that they've known each other,
Mhm.
not including them dating. So it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, this is pretty significant. Um, so yeah, and the real issue I have with the movie, really, I wish it
Mhm.
focused more on the stand-up comedy stuff. Like,
Mhm.
it's there in the movie and it's well shown, but I like the stuff with, like I said, him being a part of this community of comedians. And I would imagine all those people that he meets are real life
Mhm.
comedians, the people that he meets at the comedy club. I know that one woman in it who's like his love interest in this. I've seen her before. And I think you know who the woman I'm talking about here. I'm trying to pull up her name. But yeah, so I believe I've seen her before in other comedy stuff. But yeah, her. And That was kind of really good. I like that he found like this middle-aged guy who tries to find kind of new friends and like
Mhm,
this post-divorce because like you see some friends but they're like his married friends. Like he has Bradley
mhm.
Cooper who's also in the movie who he's married to Andrea Day, who was really pissing me off throughout the whole movie.
Oh, yeah, she was the worst. Every scene with her is, like, very frustrating, but it's in that we are only friends because, like, because you are married to one of my other friends. That is the
Yeah.
only reason that we are in each other's lives.
She was pissing me off because she's so damn nosy. Like every time they're having like a conversation or argument, she's leaning on the door, she's listening, she's looking at them. It's like, fucking
Mind your own
business.
fucking business.
You know what I mean? Like there's a scene she's leaning on the door so hard trying to listen, she actually opens the door. Like the door is cracked a little bit, and her ass is so nosy that she opens the door. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So that was just kind of pissing me off. But yeah, there's her and him that married. They have it problems, and then also there's a gay couple who you have Sean Hayes and his other husband in it, who's his and then another guy who's his husband, who I think is his real life husband. I want to say. Um, they don't really get much to do, really.
Mhm,
They don't really even say all that much. I kind of like the fact that they don't draw too much attention to the fact that it is a gay couple. It's like, oh, look, we have a
mhm,
gay couple in it. But they don't really do a whole lot or say a whole lot in it,
mhm.
really. What did you think about like, the supporting cast in the movie?
The supporting cast, I feel like I wish there was a little bit more for them to do, but I also understand why because meant to be this is meant to be like a very character-centered piece around Will Arnett and Laura Dern. So I understand why a lot of the supporting cast kind of gets a little bit of the shaft in this. And also this movie is about 2 hours long, and so much of it is about the emotional turmoil that Will Arnett and Laura Dern are going through is that I understand not giving much to the supporting cast.
Mm, yeah. Um, yeah, and I think it's we've had a lot of movies we mentioned about marriage and
Mhm.
about separation and people going through that. And we just mentioned Marriage Story, which was a big movie there from Noah Baumbach, who did that one. Um, how do you think this movie handles relationships and marriage and kind of that goes?
I, I feel like I feel like this movie handles it in such a very human way because both Will Arnett and Laura Dern's characters, they are both very flawed people, but they're also very flawed in a real and very human way that feels very authentic. And Will Arnett, he had a very public divorce with his former wife, Amy Poehler, and you can see a lot of how that kind of influenced him and his performance and him writing in this.
Mm,
And I felt like in the hands of a different director, it would have been a little bit more showy. It would have been a lot of those cliches that we see in a lot of other Hollywood films. That every scene, the two of them together, they can't stand each other. They're like constantly knocked down, drag out, fighting with each other. And I like that this is a little bit more low key.
mm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's like I say, human. It's more kind of
Mhm,
a good human look at that. And this is based on loosely inspired by a real life guy, a British comedian, John Bishop.
mhm,
So it's kind of loosely inspired by that. And you're right. Will Arnett, along with Bradley Cooper, did the screenplay for this, along with a guy named Mark Chappell, who's also did the screenplay for it. And like I said, much more of a low key movie from Bradley Cooper than we've seen
mhm,
before. Other things like Maestro, like A Star Is Born. I think both movies, especially like Maestro, I think we even said
mhm,
in review, very Oscar baity type thing. I
mhm.
think with that, and with that movie here, it's just kind of like okay, it's just a nice little kind of movie about this guy's life and kind of what he's going through. Will Arnett, who does a really great job in this, leading this.
Mhm.
Laura Dern also is really amazing, so
Yeah,
she's always really
yeah,
great.
Will Arnett, he's one of those performers that I think because a lot of what I know him from is, sitcoms or animation, whether it be, Lego Batman or BoJack Horseman, I keep forgetting how great of an actor that he really is.
Mm, yeah. What will be your final thoughts rating for Is This Thing Still On?
Um, yeah, this is a movie that I really didn't know what I was getting into with this. I knew that this was Bradley Cooper directing. I knew that this was, loosely inspired by the life of a real guy. And I actually ended up really liking this movie. I feel like the performances from both Arnett and Laura Dern, I feel like they ground these characters in such a very real and authentic way that I'm gripped just watching the two of them together. And I feel like for as low key as this is probably Cooper's best directed film because it's such a smaller scale that he can really use all of the choices that he makes with the camera, with the editing, and really focus on character versus something like A Star Is Born or Maestro, and really go big and bombastic and give me an Oscar, please.
Mm, okay. Also his parents, Bradley Cooper, I forgot to mention them. They come in, they do really well too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Kieran Hines, who I think one of our great underrated character actors. You've seen him in stuff. You've seen him in Game of Thrones. You've seen him in The Cook, The Thief. A lot of great work. He's kind of been one of like, oh, it's that guy forever.
Yeah. And the wife, the mother in here is Christine Ebersole. There, so it's also who's the mother of Bradley. I mean, of Will Arnett in this. Yeah. So, what will be your rating there for it?
If I had to give a rating, I think that this is a very strong tune in. I really enjoyed the pacing of this movie. I really enjoyed the writing in it, the direction that Bradley Cooper gives. But at the same time, this is kind of a very, low key month for Hollywood. There's not a lot of big stuff coming out. But I do feel like this is worth checking out in a theater if it's playing near you. So I got to give this a strong tune in.
Yes, I give it a tune in as well. I did enjoy this movie. I think I still like Star is Born quite a
Mhm.
bit. I think this is my second favorite Bradley Cooper movie. It's close, actually, pretty close to. Like you said, it's not as bombastic as the things he's done in the past there, and much more low key and much more character performance driven. I think with this movie, and I liked it quite a bit there. I liked what Will Arnett was doing, and we know he can play tragic, sad characters because BoJack
Mhm.
Horseman was very sad and very tragic with that. So yeah, I greatly enjoyed everybody in this movie, especially Will Arnett. But like I said, I wish to focus a little bit more on the stand-up comedy stuff and how that was used as a form of catharsis for him and like a therapy. There's always that joke, men would rather do this than go to therapy, and he'd rather do stand-up comedy. He'd rather tell a whole room full of strangers instead of just one stranger what's wrong with him with that. And a lot of the interactions with the other comedians was really good there as well. They said like, "Well, you're not good at stand-up comedy, but you're honest. You speak from the
It's like
heart. So
it's like you're not good at this, but you're getting there.
yeah, you speak from the heart. You let it all come out. So that's good. It's authentic. It's raw. It's real, and that's good. Even if
As
you
and as one of my favorite interactions is when Laura Dern's character and Alex's dad in this, who's played by Kieran Hines, when they come to a set and seeing their very polar opposite reactions.
yeah. Well, he got him on a bad night. The dad, Kieran Knight, he got him on a really bad night.
It was like,
Uh,
maybe tell some jokes next time.
yeah. But that was a good emotional scene too with
Mhm.
him and Kieran Hines. So that was really good. But yeah, so two tune ins, but Nick gives it a strong tune in for Is This Thing Still On? I think you can still catch it in theaters
Yeah,
now.
yeah, I think this was like a festival darling from the New York Film Festival, and it's gotten its wider release now.
Yeah, awesome. So that was our review.